So the last 5 times I've logged on Instagram, I get an ad. The incredible AI system builds your team for you. 15 to 30 people a month sponsored automatically. Don't talk to your friends. Don't talk to your family. Don't call people. Don't do any work at all. Sometimes I just want to stick a fork in my eye. I spent more than 5 years losing money in network marketing and went on to become one of the highest income earners in the world, producing more than $22 billion with a B, $22 billion worth of revenue for myself, team, my clients, and proteges. My name is Randy Gage, and this is the Duplication Nation MLM Pod. And it's dedicated to sharing with you the lessons that I learned that can help you grow your business successfully. Hey, welcome back to the newest, latest, greatest episode of the Duplication Nation MLM Pod. I'm joined by two of the brightest minds in network marketing, and we're going to do a special episode just about AI. I am joined by my colleague at duplicationnation.com, Jaime Loquier, and the lovely and talented Eric Gamio. And I can see, looking at you two, I need to get out in the sun more because I'm looking very pale in comparison to
we both live in Miami.
Yeah. And you need more hair somewhere because
dude, you live in Miami, not in Denmark.
I know, right?
Look outside the window. We live in the same place.
I know.
It's fun.
And I'm right on the bay. It's gorgeous. All right, so here's the thing. I see these, like I say, these systems, these formulas, these $500 ebooks and $5,000 consulting programs. Everybody billing themselves as AI experts when we know there's no such thing as that. Even Sam Altman wouldn't call himself an AI expert. Sundar from Google wouldn't call himself that. Even Elon wouldn't call himself that. I think they'd all say, man, it's the wild, wild west. We have no idea where this is going. And we're just figuring it out as we go along. But here we are, once again, our profession is being victimized by a parasite class of vendors who want to sell shit to our teams. And here we are. What's your guys' take on this to maybe just kickstart the discussion?
Well, first of all, I think this may be the most important segment that people should listen to in the next at least 2 years, because what we're going to talk about now, it's going to happen more and more, and every time bigger and every time scarier. And people should understand that it's obvious that all of us want to grasp this new technology first and want to be one of the first ones innovating, because we saw what happened in the past. When you started, Randy Gage, doing DVDs for duplication, people used to tell you that you were like son of the devil because you were trying to do something different and you were possessed by spirits doing that. And you proved that using the best marketing tools on a duplicatable way was a huge superpower. And then happened the same to us, to Eric and me, when we started talking about Facebook and YouTube. People used to throw us out of meetings because we just mentioned that name of Facebook. And we did fortunes being one of the first grasping that technology. So right now, everyone wants to have that story. But the problem is that for each of us, each person like us with a story of success using that technology, there are 1,000 stories of people who just got scammed or tried to do something but on a wrong way without really taking care of their team, or they stopped working with their team just to learn this new technology and then they forgot about the team and they lost the team. So there are many, many ways of losing everything you have built if you do this the wrong way, if you neglect your team. So I think it's very important to understand where are we with this new technology, but also the limitations and also the right way to start learning this without losing everything you've built.
I lost everything I built when I started, innovating with digital marketing back in 2008. Because I was so distracted in the new stuff that I forgot the basic stuff. And I hate to say go back to the basics. I thrive on the shoulders of innovation. My mistake was to adapt digital marketing and forget the leadership basics. I had to, what I should have done is incorporate my digital marketing strategies to the leadership background and complete it. I was, 2006, 7, 8, 9, struggling, calling friends, calling everybody, And when I stumbled upon Mike Dillard and a thing called Magnetic Sponsoring, an ebook of $27, I read it and it said online advertising. And I was like, I have to try something new. And I did it. Long story short, my 100% of the top leaders in my team that this year we're going to make $18 million. We did 12 and a half last year in sales came from that strategy, from digital marketing. So I embraced it. I was too early. That's why, as Jaime said, I was kicked out of groups, kicked out. I had an intervention by all the leaders of my company, like I was Morpheus, and that was the machine trying to kill me, from waking up. And long story short, it worked. But it worked when I incorporated that and didn't forget about the culture, the leadership. And now these guys like Mike Dillard, which I respect, they're coming again. They are the one, hey, the fathers of attraction marketing are back with AI. So I'm not against AI. I'm not against the what. I'm against the who. Who is promoting this? If it's Jaime, let's listen. He's built a legitimate organization. If it's Randy, let's listen. If it's some guy that it's a tech guy that has a resource for us, skeptical.
Yeah, for me, I started before even the tech, because people don't remember this, but I think my famous album, how to earn at least 100,000 a year in network marketing, right? I don't know how many million copies of that we sold, but it's all over the world. It was the number one training album in the history of network marketing. What people forget is that my number 2 best-selling album was called Massive Action MLM. And it was about direct mail, card deck advertising, classified ads, space ads, all of those, advertising messages, because I was really good at that, because I'm a good writer and I really honed my skills to become a good copywriter. So I had a similar experience to you guys, except in my sense, I didn't have anyone attacking me from the upline. They loved the volume, so they didn't give a shit. It's like, wow, look at all the volume he's bringing in. And they didn't have a system, right? I was Mr. System. Before me, no one even talked about a system other than people who were in Amway and doing their Amway thing, right? No one else in network marketing. It's all just throw the mud against the wall and see what sticks. And so I had success with that, but what I didn't have with that was lifestyle. I still couldn't scale it. And I still couldn't get the kind of duplication I wanted. So that's what led me back to, yeah, you know what? You have bleeding edge, you have leading edge, you have cutting edge, you have dull edge. And the truth is, I have a better lifestyle if I stay with the dull edge stuff, because I may not grow as fast, but I grow stronger, and I have a stronger residual, I have a stronger retention rate, more people reach more levels. And then, so I've spent my whole career, then, during, and after, looking at, okay, my 3-word mantra is how to automate, how do I systematize, how do I scale? And of course, when you think about any kind of tech, automate, systematize, scale seems right in the wheelhouse. And particularly with artificial intelligence, automate, systematize, scale. So I'm still looking at this like daily. I mean, daily. I'm looking at everything daily, because the market, that technology is moving so fast and it's so impactful. But here's what I think might be the most shocking fact that we're going to say in this whole discussion is this. I called 8 people to talk, 8 leaders who make at least $25,000 or $30,000 a month. And I said, hey, what, if anything, are you doing with AI? Of 8 people, 5 said absolutely nothing. And 3 of them said, I use ChatGPT to make my emails better, or I use ChatGPT to do the workshop write-ups, or I use ChatGPT to get some better titles for my training segments, and that's it. And these are rock stars of the profession, true leaders, people with huge teams, with solid income, who've been doing this for years and years. And I think that would shock the average person in network marketing, because they think those people already know some secret AI system that they're using that they're not telling them about. That would be my guess.
Yeah, but I think we should take that statement with a grain of salt, because people could think that the classic thing that comes my way is, Eric, even 2025, I want to do what you've been doing for 15 years, digital marketing to attract customers and distributors. But my upline says, Rafael, the number 1 guy in his company, didn't create his business with this TikTok shit. Why would you? I don't give a shit about Rafael. Because I don't know, a legend, I don't know, Enrique, what's the guy from Herbalife? Enrique Valera? No. Graciela, no sé. She didn't. Yeah, but it was 1995. I don't give a shit about 1995. So, of course, if in 2009, when I created my first ad, and I recruited a lot of people, if I would have asked the top 10 mentors, hey, how much digital advertising are you using? They would have said, what is that? And that wouldn't, it was like, for me, it will be the wrong questions for these guys. They build it. They don't even need to do it that way. I cannot call them, hey, you're not in the cutting edge. You already created it. You don't have to go back. If you want to sponsor 100 people, use it. But if you don't want to, don't use it. But it's I leave them alone and I do my own thing. And if I'm wrong, like Lucas said, my sponsor, I don't know what you're talking about. 2008. Here's my credit card. If it works, it's ethical. it works and it duplicates, teach it. If it doesn't work, but it worked. So maybe, I would ask, instead of leaders, a 21-year-old kid or 18 or 19, hey, how could you do this better?
Yeah, it's a great question and a great approach. The issue is we have the 21-year-old kids are already selling the $500 e-courses, and they haven't done it better because they're not in the business. They're just social media influencers or whatever.
But that's our guidance. Luca, who would never use digital marketing until 12 months ago, he waited 15 years. He was the one promoting it for me. And hey, use my credit card. Hey, you should do a website. No, it's a landing page. Oh, okay. Hey, should you do a paper ad? No, I did that. We have to use autoresponders. Aweber. Okay. So he was guiding me in this terrain but I was executing. So I would tell kids in my team, hey, from 18 to 25 or 27 even, hey, AI. Yeah, you use ChatGPT? Grandpa, I use 7 platforms in my iPhone. Yeah, that's the way. Okay, how could we attract people? The leadership side, I'm going to teach you. Attracting, maybe you're going to create an ad with your face and you have 16 different ads that you don't have to record because AI is going to do it for you with a perfect copy. Is that it? Yeah. In multi-platforms? Yeah. Okay. The leadership part, I can help you with. The other part, I don't have a clue. You do it. Test it.
The question is, if you are a leader on a big team, if you want all your team to learn how to use 700 different apps and then the next 700 that will come up the next year, because right now you have thousands of apps coming up every day, just as every network marketer wants to be the first doing something huge with AI, every business owner wants to be the first doing an AI model for us to use. So it's impossible to catch up to that. Listen, I'm on a kind of an MBA on AI. I'm paying thousands of dollars for that just to try to catch up, because I'm not using it for any business, just to try to understand what's happening. And something I noticed is that there's a huge difference between this disruption and the one that we used to grow with social media, because social media, its main purpose was to connect people. So having a platform like that made to connect people, being the first using it was a huge advantage, was real leverage. Right now, AI is helping in many ways, and you could use it in many ways, but to improve the things you are already doing. So if you are already building a personal brand, using AI will help you do it better and faster. If you are already sending messages to your prospects through WhatsApp, it will help you do it better and faster. And you can have an Erigamio GPT trained by Erigamio, and I could say, write follow-up emails with the voice of Erigamio, and they will be way better than the ones that I can do because I'm just new in the industry. So it will help me do it faster and better. But I need to do the work that I was doing. I need to learn how to do the basics so ChatGPT would help me. It's like having a team of assistants. So you need to know what to ask them so they can actually go and do it. And I think that's the big difference between this disruption and social media, which actually changed the way we were doing the business.
If I go to my team right now, I mean, for leaders like us, the biggest fear is the distraction. I don't want all my team. But the reality is that nobody gives a shit. They're not hopping on ChatGPT. If I talk, I don't know, to 100 people in my team in different countries, different cities, they're like, I'm not taking a peek into that. There's a couple of people, there's a couple dozen people who are doing it. those are the guys, and I can handle a couple of those people. It's not going to be like my whole team's going to be disrupted and distracted by this AI, you know, trampoline. It actually is it's a pitfall. No, it's a couple of people, and they are the guys that a couple of them are going to be totally distracted. Like I was distracted for 2 years. You know, I mean, 90% of my check for 2 years was recruiting. I forgot everything about leadership, doing action plans, home meetings. The only thing is I want to perfect recruiting with digital marketing. And I did it, 90% of my checks. So I was self-employed. Then I incorporated the leadership again. I remembered, you know, liderazgo cuchi cuchi, action plan, 2 hours, you know, nourishing. And then it hooked up. So I'm willing to pay for the distraction of these innovators.
Yeah, and this is where I'm weighing the scale every day, and I mean literally every day, because where I see it is at what I call the tipping point ranks, right? Every comp plan is different, so we can't say what yours is for everybody watching or listening, but there's a rank in your plan that's the tipping point. By the time somebody gets there, they're making a nice part-time income. They're starting to maybe buy plane tickets and think about going to work with some long-distance lines. They're investing in tools and events. And those, I got like 5 or 6 people at those ranks. They get there, which is when I'm hoping they're gonna really dial it up. And instead I get an email that say, okay, look, I'm using Midjourney and we're taking photos and then I take Canva and I've created the perfect rank advancement slide so we don't have to wait for the company to do it. We can post in our own site. Every time somebody breaks a rank, I show them how to put that in. And they give me a list of 7 different apps that they're using for different things: copywriting, headlines, photos, graphics, power slide decks, whatever. And none of those people grow after that. They've all stopped and they've all become technology gurus, and everybody's, you know, looking to them for advice because they love these new toys. Because if you're playing with a toy, you don't have to call a prospect. And the one thing nobody wants to do is call a prospect because that's scary. They might say no and you might get rejected. Where working on a new toy is fun. But, you know, that is only 1/1000th of a millimeter away from being the old man screaming at the kids to stop walking on your lawn, right? That's where I got to make sure I don't go that extra 1,000th of a millimeter and become that old guy who's screaming at the kids, because that isn't the answer. I'm going to just be a dinosaur. But God damn, it's such a delicate dance trying to figure this stuff out right now.
In the movie Mountain Head that you guys are going to watch tonight, there's this classic Silicon Valley process of thinking. And this Steve Carell character, who is like a Peter Thiel kind of guy, he bases his life, or humanity has based its life in the fuck what cool principle. Every time something, fuck what cool. Every time something new comes into humanity, it's what the fuck, what, cool. Like, I don't know, bronze, fuck, civilization, what, cool. You know, like the Industrial Revolution, fuck, you know, what, cool. The tractor, you know, fuck, what, cool. Now AI, fuck, what, cool. That's principle. I loved it, you know. And that's what's happening for me with the AI. And what I see, because it's cyclical, it's the same thing over and over again. In 50 years, in the Dune kind of world, we're going to see ethereal, plain, multi-timeline disruption changes applied to MLM. So it's going to be another one in 50 years. Now it's AI. So I've seen 3 kinds of people. The ones that don't give a shit. I mean, today, digital marketing, in network marketing, how many people in the team uses it in a good way. They care about it. Not everybody, just a percentage. So adult people don't pay attention. They're going to still using the classic tactics. Two, there's going to be the people that are going to become the lab. They're going to restrain themselves from the field, and they're going to become tech experts on the new technology. And they're going to lose themselves, and then they're going to sell these courses to people. And then there's going to be people like us that we embrace the new technology, but we execute it and we grow. And I'm willing to be able to lose people in my team saying, hey, do whatever you want. Like Maxwell said, create an ecosystem where they can take risks and innovate. Do whatever you want. And there's going to be a couple of guys that are going to kill it and have results. I have one, it's not me. My brother-in-law, Mary's brother, came back into the business with Luca, not with me, because they had an agreement, and I was like, perfect. He sold 1,500 boxes of product in 24 hours. 1,500. And he has 10 people. Argentina triplicated in 30 days. It worked. In 3 people, they can still use it. It's duplicable. Duplication for me, it's like very idealistic because I'm not duplicatable. My eloquence is not duplicatable. My tone is not duplicatable. My style of leadership. So duplication is kind of like an illusion in some places. Systems, yeah. So that's a new thing. 1,500 boxes. Now the company is implementing that stuff into the thing, so everybody can use it. And there's a pilot. Now, 30 people did not 1,500, but 40 cases in one day. So it's there. Some people are going to be distracted by it, annoyed by it, and some people are going to execute it.
The thing here's what I'm really, one of the things I do every week is just block 45 minutes of time just to think. No devices. I literally have a pad like this and a pen, a cup of green tea, or one of my drinks from my company that I like to drink, right? And I just think, and I think a lot about AI recently, and AI, how can I integrate it to support my team better, grow faster, have better sex, grow my hair back, live to be 200, whatever. The thing I'm really thinking about deeply in este momento is if we're just going to be victims of our own success and this is going to blow up on us and crater in a 6-month time frame. We noticed, I've got a social media team, right? I've got a social media team in Nepal who works on, London. The London team is the one that works on my X account. So I'm doing threads. I post 3 threads a week, 15 to 20 threads. We found a format that works pretty well because it's very hard to get readership on X anymore. I just said, this is my last thing. I think the platform may be dying. I'm going to give it one last go. I'm going to invest this money with this team and see. So I got some posts, 200,000 views, 300,000 views. I think the top one we get is 400,000, which is huge compared to, you can have 400,000 followers on X today and do a post and have 30 people see it. That's like the norm now. So, but what I've noticed is now there's this cookie cutter template. This incredible thing happened. I was 2 minutes away from death, and then I found the secret 7-step formula. And I open up my feed and there's 60 of them in 15 minutes because they're all using Chat GPT. It's the exact, and you can just smell the Chat GPT things 10 miles away. They use all the icons in every line, the emojis and everything, and they have this formula. And so it's just now the response is less and less and less for everybody. I was talking, Heidi and I just did this recruiting lab, incredible 4-day event in Vegas, right? And where was that car show thing? You said that was from Gemini, using Gemini, the AI generated car show video?
Yeah, it was with Gemini.
Okay, so if you haven't seen it, this guy just experimenting with Gemini says, I'm going to create a video like Wired Magazine would create when we went to the Geneva car show. And then there's, this guy with the $2 million supercar behind him. And then here's the hayseed redneck with beard and the pickup truck. And he switched over to that. And, it's like 15 people in there. And the whole thing is AI. All the people, all the cars, everything totally made up. It's the kind of thing Hollywood would have spent $800,000 making that 2 years ago. This guy did it in, 20 minutes on his laptop or his smartphone for 87 cents. And I'm just saying, there will be a point, and it's coming very, 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 very soon, where nobody will believe anything. If you get a video call from your mother, you're going to wonder, is this really my mother? Is somebody punking me? Okay, look at the videos of Kamala dancing with Trump and Putin kissing Trump and, Zelensky playing footsie with Putin. There was a one last week after 2 weeks ago when the Yankees played the Dodgers, and they did this clip with Aaron Judge, and then so it's like an Aaron Judge Instagram, clip of him saying, I give up. I'm asked to be traded. There's no way we're ever going to beat the Dodgers. They they fucked us last night. They beat us like a drum. My cheeks are so sore. They fucked us without any lube. And it wasn't like the lip syncing was almost close, or the voice was almost close. It was exactly as you saw Aaron Rodgers if he was on SportsCenter or any show. And then the next day there was a response from Shohei Ohtani, and who never gives interviews in English, but they clipped it. He must have said enough English words that again they did this whole Instagram post. It was the cadence, the tone, the lips, the timing, the lighting, everything. There's no way an average human without lab equipment could know that those videos were doctored, artificial intelligence. No human could know. And that's where we're at. And so we're at the point now that every email is going to be amazing. Every subject line is going to be brilliant. Every preview line under the subject line is going to grab you by the throat with something. Everything is going to be customized exactly to your hot button. Everything is going to be customized to weaponize your fears and your everything against you. And at some point, it all stops working. Nobody believes anything. Nobody believes what's on the news. Nobody believes what's on their phone. Nobody believes what's on their laptop. It's just like Russia. People in Russia don't trust anything because the whole government lied to them for years. I had an interpreter, and he was driving me nuts, right? He'd say, Randy, do you want a coffee? No, thanks. I don't. Are you sure you don't want a coffee? Nick, I don't drink coffee. Okay, just want to make sure. Do you want, no. And finally, this goes on for like 3 cities. We're on a tour. I finally say, Nick, why do you never believe me? Every time you ask me a question, I answer it, and you ask me 4 more times. You're driving me nuts. I love you, but you're driving me nuts. It's a Randy. I'm Russian. We don't believe anybody. Because, if you're raised in Russia, there are textbooks in your school that say The Russians dropped the bombs on Japan and won the Second World War. That's what they teach in the school system. The textbooks say the Russians killed Hitler. He didn't kill himself, the Russians killed him, right? They're taught all this stuff since, right? So they don't believe anything. Or they're totally brainwashed and they believe everything. But after so much of believing everything, finally you start to believe nothing.
But don't you think that massive skepticism is a good thing for humanity? I think it is.
Is mass, what was the first part I didn't hear?
I mean, everybody believes anything, the news, I haven't watched the news. Yes, last night, Mary told me, what's going on in Iran? And I don't know, famine, I don't know. I don't give a shit because if I'm not gonna do anything about it, I don't give a shit. Okay. So a plane came down in Columbus, Ohio. I don't give a shit. But my mom, you have to see the people. I don't give a shit. It's not my problem. If that's gonna be my problem, I should worry about the hunger kids in Sudan. So I don't give a shit. Saying that, a lot of the information is the deep fakes and the fake information and whatever. So, and everybody says, hey, look at this, and maybe it's fake. So maybe a massive skepticism conduct in humanity is the best thing that happened to us for our mind evolution.
Great philosophical question. I think that's true. Skepticism is good. You know what's not good? Cynicism. Cynicism is poison, and it will go to cynicism. And at the point where I'm saying is, how many actual MLM people do we have in the U.S. who are building? 4 million, 6 million, whatever the number is. Let's say it's 5.5 million. If 5.5 million of those people all can send kick-ass, incredible SMS texts, emails, DMs on all the social media, they can create incredible videos, incredible audios, incredible print ads, screen ads, slide ads, everything. And we're all getting assaulted with 30 of them a day. How does anyone cut through the clutter? And I just think it's going to get to the point where the only person you're going to believe is your neighbor when you're standing in his yard next to his grill in the backyard and he's cooking sausages and together. And the only person you're going to believe is your family when they're sitting at the Thanksgiving table with you and it's really them and not, somebody deep faking your mother.
Yeah.
And then it's going to go back to the people who build relationships.
Exactly. We're going to go full circle. We're going to leave.
Right? And I think the golden era of AI recruiting might be a 6-month bottle rocket that absolutely craters. And I'm not saying that's going to happen because I'm just like anyone else. I have no fucking idea what's going to happen. But when I sit and I think and I reflect on that, that's what I think may happen.
I want to ask you, trying to switch a little the conversation, what are the ways that you actually see this is helping people in network marketing? Because I know all of you have some examples of ways that this is actually helping people. Maybe it's not the automation that these fake gurus are promising, but there should be some ways people are actually getting benefits from this technology already.
Well, like for me, back in the day, all you had to say was, listen, the convention is in September. It's in Chicago. You got to get your tickets. That's what people did because you go to the convention. That's part of the system. That's what you were trained, You can't get away with that shit today. You better write a headline benefit. You better write 15 paragraphs of kick-ass copy about all the benefit, and you will learn sessions on how to meet new people, how to generate more leads, how to convert. distributors into leaders sooner, how to build your volume. So for me, I'm like, okay, let's take my headline for my promo for the convention or the major event, and I'm going to put it into chat or Gemini or something and say, hey, give me 15 alternate titles for this that are more thing. I'll take the copy and say, hey, is there anything you would do to spruce this up to make it more compelling? I'm doing that now with some of the language I use on my one-on-one emails and texts when I'm approaching people. And I see people in my team doing that, and I think it's working. Like, when I say when I call those 8 people, the people who said they were actually doing something, those are the kind of things they were doing. I don't know, Flaco, what do you see people doing?
My question would be, because I pay hardly any attention to anything these days. So I don't know this. I've heard there's people trying to sell AI funnels or team building AI systems, but I never read more than a headline. Never. So I don't know what they are promising. What are they promising, and how do they do it?
They promise you to automate everything on your team and using AI to bring people to your team without having to do anything. And
Like
what they are
but
actually
how?
doing, I bought 4 of them. So what
Okay.
they are actually doing,
How? I mean, I'm imagine you bought it. Imagine you're the creator. I'm the leader, struggling. I don't have many more cousins to sign up. I want to sign 30 people per month. You know, which would
so
be stupid actually. But
here's what they are actually doing. They are doing funnels. The same
funnel,
funnels that we've been doing for 10 years now. Those are the funnels they are
but better,
doing. What?
but better, like with the ads, landing page, follow
Yeah,
up.
they give you an extension of an AI platform to help you do more ads. So, for example, you say, I want to do ads about perfume, and this is my product. You feed the language model with your catalog, and then you get from the AI, you get 10 different ads or 20 or 100 different ads. And then you run those ads through the same funnel that you would do 10 years ago.
Perfect. Yeah.
So are they using ClickFunnels and Go High Level, those 2 platforms?
The exact same platforms as everyone.
So it's what we've been doing, but enhancing it. I mean, like doing it better because you don't have to create. I mean, in 2010, I created 13 landing pages. The ad, which was totally unethical, then I realized it. I thought, hey, people, I don't want to get people to show them network marketing. I want people that are looking for network marketing or have been exposed. So I hit, okay, people go to hotels. They see a Herbalife presentation in a hotel for an hour back in the day, right? They go back to their homes. They didn't have smartphones. They go on Google, Herbalife, and they get. So I have to be there. That's where I have to be for the people who are asking. Do I? Sure. So I had 13 ads and 13 landing pages. Back then, there wasn't Facebook ads. It was all Google AdWords. And I read my Perry Marshall 600-page book on how to do Google Ads. And it was all about relevance. So it's don't enter Herbalife without watching the truth about multi-level marketing. So I had that for Herbalife, Zri, for Lab, Agile, for everybody, you know. And I it was a training video. I never backmouthed anybody. I never even talked about Herbalife. Never. It was just to get you, and it was like the videos were about the truth about MLM. Donald Trump never said he would have been in here. You know, like being like the guy that you want to find. Like, hey, tell me this is a scam. Well, this is a long-haired guy saying, yeah, they're lying, they're exaggerating. You're not gonna end up in Cancun. You know, yeah, but maybe you're gonna do it because this is And if you want to work, so something with somebody, because I'm actually in the business. So it was like the villain becoming, the good guy. You can, and actually there was a link. You can have an interview with me. And then never said presentation, interview, because I wanted to be in the power position. And I had 5-6 interviews every day for 5 years. That's how I created my team, So if you tell me that I don't have to do like 13, because I have to program that shit, 13 landing pages, 13 ads saying, with the logo, or whatever, and then AI is going to do that for me in different languages. Well, where do I buy? For me, that would be amazing.
Yeah, and I don't know that we're not there yet. I mean, I don't think we're there yet, but I'm not confident enough to say we're not there yet, because that's the first thing Jaime told me when we were in our leadership lab is, when you put in the Randy Gage GPT together, people want to buy that right now. And I'm like, I know, but I don't know. It makes me a little queasy. I'm not sure where I want to go with that. And, but right now, because I have people tell me, oh, look what I wrote. I went to, and whichever one they put, and I say, and write this in the style of Randy Gage. And it really does sound like I wrote it, a lot of it. I mean, I'll notice little things, but I think for the average person, they would say, oh, yeah, I think Gage really did write that. So to take that ability to do that in the written word and take you and have you say it like in an interview, in a video, for sure that's there. Now, whether it could mimic you in an interview answering questions, I don't think we're there yet, but I wouldn't bet that we're not there yet.
But that's the thing. I was talking to Mary yesterday, and I was like, hey, I want to create this video about this and that and that, my ChatGPT is called Lola. I don't know, and she talks in Argentinian Spanish for some reason. So I'm going to ask Lola, because I've uploaded 1,000 documents about myself, and my presentations, so that it can actually know me. And I want to create this. I don't want to think like this for 3 hours about the structure of the video, my main ideas. It did it in 2 minutes, and it was like, that's exactly what I wanted to say. That's exactly, And Mary was like, hey, but you're leveraging your intelligence. So, I mean, don't be lazy. Think about that. And my answer was like, should I throw away my calculator too? Because I love my
totally
calculator.
agree with you. Totally agree with you. And that's one of the things I wanted to say on my notes. This will be like a calculator for everything we need to think about.
I don't want to think. I don't want to multiply plus one. I don't give a shit about the process. I want to focus on my genius side, which is executing it. Or maybe AI is going to use your face to execute. Maybe somebody is like playing playback or playing live. I like the mistakes. I like it. I'm going to do it myself. I'm not going to upload videos of AI doing my face and my voice in the perfect way. I want my mistakes. I want to be Keith Richards. That half of the concert, he's like, what? What? I want the scrappiness. I don't want the perfect. So that's going to be a choice. It's an artisan. I'm like an artisan innovator.
The danger zone there is you become a vegetable. Is because I was explaining this to the people in Vegas the biggest prosperity question I get the most these days from parents is always, what do I teach my kid? What should my kid study? What skills should my kids be learning so that they're going to be prosperous in the future? Because 5 years ago everybody was still telling them to code. Now if you code, you're just a commodity, because apps can code for you. We don't even need coders anymore, basically. So I always say the one skill you have to teach them is thinking. And the best way to teach them thinking is to teach them writing skills. Make them write out things, because writing makes you clarify your thoughts. If I just take a speech and I deliver it, there's 5,000 people in the audience. I get a standing ovation. I crushed it. They're laughing, crying. They clapping for 20 minutes after. They're bringing me out for an encore. I say that talk goes perfect. But then if I print it out, I'll be like, oh my God, all those I said and those and I promised them to tell them the 5 secrets to this, and I only did 4, and I forgot to get you don't see it until it's written, right? So like for me, I will never let an AI write a script for me, a Magalog copy or anything. I make myself write it, and then I run it through and say, and I give it parameters, and I'm probably the only idiot left on earth who does that, but I strongly
But that's
about
a
that.
preference. I mean, that's a preference. All goes back to the question, how do you want to live? There are people who, like Jaime and me were talking, they like to add in their head. There are people who want the journey. Some people, no, but going in a horse from San Francisco to San Diego, you can see the wild. These fucking trains, they're gonna rip you of the experience of getting there. So it's all about from A to B. You like the process of writing and the creative juices of your mind thinking in the abyss of ideas. You like that. Some people don't give a shit. They just want to get it out because
Yeah.
they're not writers.
It's deeper than that, because I just feel like if there's one thing you don't ever want to outsource, it's your thinking.
Yeah,
But you will never outsource all your thinking, because when you are using your calculator, for example, you are thinking about other stuff. You are just giving away this side of your brain, and you have more time and more energy to grasp other tasks. And here happens the
exactly.
same. You need to think to be able to use it better. I don't know if you ever tried to use one of those scientific calculators. I see that, and it's like Chinese for me. I don't have any idea how to use those calculators, because I don't have the knowledge behind it. But if I would have that knowledge, which makes me think on how to use it, this just helps me move faster.
Exactly. And it all depends on the preference if you want to move faster or you don't. I'm a musician. I would never say AI, hey, give me a good metal song that I can take to Def Jam Records. No, because I want it to come from my heart with my mistakes, with my feeling, with my everything, and my non-perfection. It's because I like to play. So it all depends of what you like to do. What do you want to bypass and what you don't want to bypass. And talking about parenting, they asked me the same question. How do you tell your kids? I'm not going to tell them anything because I don't know. They are going to have to discover how can I tell somebody that's 15 right now, hey, maybe you should go to, I don't know. What I'm going to build is social skills, intelligence, conversations. My daughter is writing like me every single day in a journal like this. And that's it. Whatever else, I don't give it. Their path. It's not mine. Back to MLM.
Yeah. Well, we should probably land the plane pretty soon. So I think if you guys got any final thoughts, here's what my final thoughts would be on this. I believe the AI disruption is going to be 1,000,000 times bigger than I thought it was going to be a year ago. I'm just the speed which these models are developing and the tasks to which they're doing and the people that they're replacing, and I like to consider myself pretty visionary thinking with tech. I wrote 2 best-selling books on that. I embraced it very early. But I thought, yeah, there's going to be millions of jobs disrupted by technology, and that's okay. That's a good thing. Ultimately, it's good. It makes us stronger, just like we don't need people building a lot of horse wheel carriages anymore, and we don't need big markets of that. But now I think we're talking about literally hundreds of millions of people who are going to be displaced by technology. And I think a huge segment of them are going to be people who earn from 100,000 to 300,000 a year, which are jobs that a year ago I would have thought were safe. Like, those are the thinking, supervisory, strategic, directorial jobs. They're not going to be replaced by AI. I don't think that anymore. And I think there's people who earn seven figures, $1 million earners, whose job is going to be replaced with, like movie studios. There's people who make millions of dollars a year, and their job is just to green light movies. And there's no human. First of all, I'd argue I'm the only human on earth who could outdo AI for now in picking what movie would be a hit, because I'm just going to use my prosperity formula. Is the bad guy a rich guy? Is the villain, does it fit all of the preconceived tropes people have? That rich people are evil, you sell your soul for money and all that. And because I'm never wrong. If you take that formula, any Hollywood blockbuster, I can tell you if it's a hit or a miss just by how wealthy and successful people are portrayed, right? But AI can learn that. Now that I put it out there, it'll be in Chat GPT and
Exactly. Yeah.
everything.
Thank you.
And now they'll be able to.
You just killed 100 jobs in Hollywood right now.
The guy at Amazon Studios, who's a $2 million a year guy who makes those green light decisions, he's not going to be able to do that better than AI. AI is going to say, what are you talking about? We've got every click, every rating, every person on, Netflix, the same thing. The guy who buys the new content for Netflix, the algorithms there tell him everything. It's like, a famous Hollywood writer back in the day, he used to say, nobody knows nothing. And then Reed Hastings came along and he said, yeah, but Netflix does.
Yeah.
Because they do. So I'm saying we're going to have the most cataclysmic disruption of employment in the history of humankind. And I think that's going to be really good for network marketing. And we're going to have more people who would consider themselves candidates for a side gig business than any time in history. And that's the really positive aspect I see emerging out of it. So that's be my, final contribution to the discussion.
Yeah, to everybody in network marketing today regarding AI, yes, I agree with Randy. This employment shift has happened a ton of times. It's just another one of those, like Ray Dalio would say. But we are in the middle of it, and it's fast because the internet happened 30 years ago. So no, it's 2 times in a lifetime. So it's a lot. It happened every 300 years, and now it's happening every 30. And then it's going to happen every 5, and then the singularity is going to fuck us. I don't know, but what's actually for me, for the guys who are network marketing, try it all. And of course, some people are going to get distracted. That's not your fault. You got into this business to kill nightmares. You owe money. You're a single mother, and your stupid husband is not giving you any alimony money. So AI is going to help you do that. Go for it. If it's ethical, functional, and duplicatable, go for it. If people in your team does not duplicate it, yeah, they can still go try to sell to the neighbor. It's about choice. you know. So try it all, learn it, and Godspeed. I did it in 2008, and it worked wonders, you know. But of course, a lot of people got distracted. But it's not my fault. I removed guilt out of everything. So try it all.
Amazing. I have a couple things I just want to say to close this. First is that I really think that we will move from duplication to clonation, which is a huge superpower, because when these app boards came to our space, people were very excited because you could give all your team everything you did online so they can copy and paste it exactly the same. But then Facebook and Instagram said, you know what, if I notice that is exactly the same post or exactly the same picture, I will show it to less people. So it stopped working. But right now with this, you can have a special web page for your team, which is, I don't know, locierteam.com, where they go inside that and they have a Loquier GPT. And there I post whatever I'm doing on Instagram, and every person can say, hey, replicate this in my
In
tone,
my
or
way.
the way I would say it, or with my picture. So every person on your team will be able to do exactly what you're doing, but different on with their salsa, with their
Yeah, yeah.
spices. So that's a huge superpower if you are one of
Exactly.
those people who know what they are doing. When Eric was saying that he would never give AI to write his songs, let me tell you something. I just wrote 2 songs for my team that were mind blowing, amazing. My team was happier than ever, and they work amazing because I know how to write songs. So this was something very easy. It was, I don't want to hire a band, I don't want to hire a studio. I just wrote the letter, I wrote the chords, and I said, just do it in this style of music. And it did it amazing because I know what I'm doing. So if you know what you're doing with your funnel, if you know what you're doing while you're prospecting, then you can clone that for your whole team. And that's huge for people who know what they're doing. That's the first thing. The second thing is that we tend to think that story is cyclical, that everything that happened before will happen next. But this is the first time I really think is different, because I know we had disruptions in the past. I know many times jobs were switched and fulfilled by something else. But this time, the International Monetary Fund, for example, says that 60% of jobs will be lost in the next 10 years. And I think that's getting short on the actual number. So I don't think this is like all the other disruptions. I think this is something way bigger, and that's precisely why I think leadership is the most important skill right now, because people will feel lost, people will be afraid, people will be on a place of incertidumbre,
Uncertainty.
uncertainty more than ever. And that's where leadership comes. I was talking about this guy Brian Johnson. I was telling some guys they are my students, and I was telling them,
The ACDC song, singer? No.
no, Brian Johnson.
Is the longevity guy who spends $2 million a year
Ah,
on supplements.
so the nerd is Brian Johnson. Okay.
Yes, exactly, the nerd one. This
Yeah.
guy has a huge community, millions of people. The name of the community is the Don't Die community. So this guy sells supplements. We know supplements better than anyone in network marketing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So he sells supplements that are as good as any other good supplement. and
Yeah.
they are very expensive, and people buy them like they were tortillas
Yeah.
because they are part of the movement. This guy is
Exactly.
it's like a religion what he's doing, which
Yeah.
I'm not saying this as a bad thing. I
No, it's an
really
MLM
admire this
without
guy.
the levels.
It's the same tagline as religion: "Don't die."
Exactly, exactly.
You know,
So
him and the Vatican will be fighting over that trademark any day now.
Yeah.
right, but I was telling my team, you think that your product is something that no one else has, but with all this technology, in 2 days you can have a copy of your product from China selling on Amazon. And you think that your compensation plan is so special. In 2 days someone can copy your compensation plan and pay 2% more. Everything can be copied now except your leadership, your
Exactly.
movement.
You're
That's
nurturing.
what people need from you right now.
Exactly. That's why exactly. I totally agree with that. That's why I was saying, if it helps me recruit more people and more clients, perfect. But now, the thing that I lost when I used it in 2008 till 2019, is when they come here, do an action plan, and create a relationship with me. You know, AI cannot do that. You know, I mean, for me, it's impossible. I mean, you can create a hologram of me saying the most smart and wisdom things to the other person, but that's the thing about choice. I want to do it. I
Right.
want to do it. So I want to do it, and I want to go to the event, and instead of watching videos of what did I say to this person when I've been mentoring through AI, I wasn't there. It was a computer. That's why I'm not. That's why I don't believe in setters. I don't. That they say they're you in Instagram. All my setters are like, hey, I'm Ale from Eric's Gamio team. So do not fake it. If I'm an AI, I say, hey, this is AI. This is not Eric. Right? Eric is Miami right now. Because that for me is ethical. So by saying that, as you were saying, leadership. I want to lead the team. I want to be in the event. I'm going to go to the event this Friday. I want to be with my team, and I want it to be real. So for me, the most beautiful thing about AI, that is, it's going to make people want to be more real. Instagram is all about fake. Now, the biggest thing is being real. That's the new, as the new thing. I don't know, but I try it all. I don't. Hey, let's go bonkers.
Yeah. Okay. So here's my last words. One of the then Paul Graham, who's the founder of the Y Combinator internet, startup deal, one of the most brilliant people on earth. And one of the things he tells his founders all the time that I have never really kept as a philosophy in network marketing before, but I'm going to experiment with, is he tells them all, do the most unscalable stuff first. Like Airbnb was in his incubator, right? And they were really struggling. And he said, get your ass out of this office. You start going around to people with the listings, show them how to take pictures of their apartment, help them write things, go and visit, see how much money they're charging, see which ones are getting rented more, which ones are getting rented less. So we have a Monday morning, every project in the incubator has a meeting here. And then Monday afternoon, Monday night, get on a plane and go around the world, all these countries you want to open up, and be unscalable. And he does that with pretty much did that with pretty much all his things. And I think that's where I'm at in this moment, is I'm going to do some unscalable experimentation and get the people in and see what works, and then say, okay, how could I make this more scalable now that I've got it to a certain level and I've learned a certain amount of lessons? And I think that's kind of where we're all going to have to go if we want to proceed, is we got to just go out there and experiment and can stay as students and keep learning and watching and growing with the technology as it develops. So if you are watching, if you are listening, this is brought to you by duplicationnation.com. We do a podcast every week, but it makes sure if you're not a subscriber for free, just go to duplicationnation.com and sign up for the weekly updates, and then you'll know every time a new show comes out or anything special we're doing. And let your team know, duplicationnation.com. Totally generic resource for everybody in the space. My co-hosts today, what can I say? Thank you so much. That was our hope. I think all three of us, we had no idea where this was going to end up. We just wanted to brainstorm back and forth and kind of set some ideas on fire, and I think we did that. So thank you both.
Of course, my friends.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
It was amazing.
Peace. Hey, do me a favor before you go. Please rate this podcast and then share it with people you know who could benefit from the business building advice here. And then if you're watching on YouTube, or if you're on one of the other platforms that allow comments, please get down below, give us a shout out to the community in the comments section. Thanks.